is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
All right. We are live once again on this beautiful Sunday. Cold, dangerous gentlemen. The greatest think tank ever assembled, no debate. And we got a lot. Somebody's audio is super loud. Is that you, Doobie? What's going on?
Is that me? Let me put it down.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So we're just gonna get right into it. It's a lot of stuff going on out here in this crazy world. As you can see, the title of this episode is Out of the Loop. Everything outside is a distraction. And that's kind of how I feel right now. The more we look outside, the more shit we see and try to keep up with, looking for content to talk about. It's all just getting madder and madder by the day. And it could just be because I'm getting older and I have less attention span for this shit. It could be all of that. I don't take that off the table. But either way, this is what I'm seeing in the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this window here and we're going to get into one of the hot topics that seem to be cracking off on the internet right now. It's got a lot of people with mixed emotions and shit like that. And my brother Yakub has not seen this footage yet, so he's going to be live reacting to it with all of us. So what's happening here, what you're looking at here is, humans humaning, first and foremost. Second, if you want to get into a deeper sub-level of what's going on, is, niggas gonna nig. This is just what's happening in Chicago. So this guy is in a pizza place, and we pick it up right in the middle of everything that's going on. We don't know what happened before, but it's pretty heated already. So let's just get right into it.
Hey, get your food. Get your food. If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my God, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
Okay. So before we go any further, I think we all know what's about to happen.
He's made a declaration.
We all know what's about to happen. First of all, two things I want to say. One, women should never be arguing with men in public, especially strangers. You don't know this man? Yeah, there's freedom of speech and all of this other stuff, but men solve problems with violence. Whether that's right or wrong, that's a different conversation. The truth is, men solve problems with violence. If he was talking to another man and he says, you say one more word and I'm going to knock you out, both of them understand what's about to happen here. It's already going down. Somebody's grabbing somebody's getting choked out, somebody's getting punched in the face. It's going down. Or somebody's getting shot. You just never know how this is going to go. I don't think women fully understand what's happening in these situations, because I think a group of women possibly would be a lot more content with yelling at each other, calling each other bitches, and talking about each other's clothes, and then maybe going their own separate ways. I think this situation could play itself out with women. It could last way longer and possibly not even escalate to violence. But that's just not how men function. So this is what happens after he warned her.
I said one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
Okay.
Gotta love Twitter. I did not see the punch. It was always frozen every time I watched it. Jeez.
And he did hear the noise that happened right after that. So,
I believe there was a gunshot.
Yes, this woman's 14-year-old son was in the car with the burner. I think it was hers. She has a concealed carry permit. The gun was in the car. She's texting her son as this is going down, telling him to get the gun and come inside the restaurant. So the boy comes in the restaurant. He's holding the gun, standing by the front door. I don't know if this guy saw him or not, or if he just didn't care. But after the dude punched the mom about 3 times, then he shot him.
He did what a 14-year-old child would do, protecting his mother.
Shot him in the back. Right? Shot him in the back. And the guy runs out of the store because, he's been shot. So now, for some reason, his demeanor has changed. He's not ready to ride or die no more. Now he don't want to fight no more. So he ran outside. The son tracks him outside, shot him a couple more times. I'm not sure exactly how many, but he finished him off, took him off of here. And then the mother told the son that while it was happening, somebody inside the restaurant was laughing and said, he told you not to say nothing else. So the mother tried to get the gun from the son so the person inside laughing could also be shot. But he refused. He didn't give it to her, so they took it and they left the store. But
They did turn themselves in.
yeah, they did turn themselves in. So I think this, from right now, what they're saying is the son might be charged for the shooting or something like that. I don't really know how that's going to go down. I'm thinking the first shot is justified, but you are
When you
underage.
shoot somebody in the back, it kind of throws it all off.
No,
It's
but under the
Yeah.
circumstances, you're watching somebody beat your mother up. I don't think you can be held to a standard of trying to position yourself in front of the guy so he can see the shot coming. He's beating your mom up. Take him off of here. So the second half of my, public service announcement, the first half was don't argue with women, don't argue with men in public, strange men. The second half is any man who would initiate violence on a woman, take him off of here. You get what you get, because I believe as a man, if you're arguing with a woman, you're unstable mentally. Is that wrong to make that assumption?
You're not wrong. That assumption is correct.
Right. So if you're arguing
Stay out
with a
of
woman,
women things.
stay out of it. Because there's no circumstance where this woman that you don't know is going to say, you know what, sir, you're right. I should shut up now. You know how long it takes to get a woman you love to admit that she's wrong and you're right, and to stop an argument? You know how long?
That's one that's in love with you.
That's one that actually loves you. She has an incentive to move past this argument and to fix things and to get shit going properly. A woman you don't know may never, for any reason, admit that you're right, she's wrong, and then be quiet. You have to assume that that'll never happen. So if you're arguing, you raising your voice, I mean, you can discuss something with a woman, things might get heated, but if you're arguing, you yelling back and forth with a woman, you're mentally unstable. Your mind ain't screwed in right. Second, if you decide as a man, the argument has gone on long enough, I'm going to escalate to violence. Now, if she hits you first, knock her out. Beat her ass. Do what you got to do. That's my opinion. We don't all agree on that. This is not the consensus of the entire cult. That's just my personal branch of opinion. If she initiates violence, let her have it. But if you initiate the violence on the woman, take them off of here. That's what I got to say about it. I don't know if you brothers disagree or you got anything else to say. It seems to be pretty cut and dry, pretty simple, but it seems like everybody in this situation kind of got what was coming to him. The woman who was arguing with the man, he said, you say something else, I'm going to punch you in the face, and she said something else. So, I mean, that's pretty 1 + 1 = 2. Second, you punched somebody you punched a dude's mom right in front of him, and you got shot and killed. That's also 1 + 1 = 2. It seems like the universe reconciled itself pretty clean here.
I wish things would have ended differently.
Of course.
There was so many things that I think could have happened that would have made this a better situation. It was a very unfortunate situation. Yikes.
Yeah, very unfortunate, terrible, of course, tragic. None of this shit had to happen. I wish everybody involved would have had their head on a little bit tighter. Cooler heads always prevail. There's so many ways to handle public disputes and shit like that, but I don't know. I mean, the guy did give her... Okay, so let me preface this by saying, you don't ever have to accept the warnings or the, what do they call them? The ultimatums of strangers in public. If you don't do this, I'm going to do like... You don't have to accept that. It's a free world. We got, there's equal rights. There's freedom of speech. All of this shit. You can say what you want to say, and it shouldn't necessarily escalate to violence. But y'all are arguing in a food store in the middle of Chicago for whatever, who knows reason. There was so many... It seems like there was so many ways to end that without somebody dying. But also, she got sort of a corrective, a corrective show of physical aggression. Especially, this goes double for a woman, but especially even for men, if you're not willing to throw the gauntlet down and follow this to whatever end it comes to, somebody could die. You know where you at. You're in Chicago. You're in Chicago at a pizza spot in the middle of the night. Somebody can die. Why are you arguing? What are you yelling about? As a woman, what do you have to prove to this man who you don't know? Why are you talking to him? Why are you yelling in his face? And he said, yo, I'm about to knock you out. And nothing, no switch flips in your head, self-preservation to be like, you know what? I don't got my burner on me. This dude seems super agitated. I'm just going to be quiet for the moment. But if he follows me outside, I'm going to put a hot one in him. No self-preservation, no nothing. Fuck it. I'm going to just keep talking and keep yapping. And he punched her. I feel like that's a lesson. That's an opportunity to learn a lesson. That's what I think.
But then she put her 14-year-old child in a position where they may go to prison.
Right.
And I get that. Look, the dude's hitting your mom. So just to start there, I can't think of a scenario. Please, if you have one, give it to me. But I can't think of a scenario in which a woman is saying anything, ever, no matter what she's saying or where it's at, where it's like, look, if you say something else, I'm gonna punch you like I'd punch a man. I just don't know. I think that's the first cataclysmic, horrific, catastrophic mistake. The whole. What could you have possibly been arguing about, or what could she have possibly been saying? Especially if you're strangers, I'm gonna punch her in the face. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not right. I don't. There's no reason to escalate to that point with a woman. Now, I'll be honest. I think I've told this story on the pod before. I'll be completely honest. I threatened a woman with violence before. In public, and it was a stranger. Now, I had no intention of enacting violence on her, but I definitely threatened her. We were outside a club in Ybor City. A guy had fallen asleep drunk on a bench, and there was a crowd. You know, the clubs were letting out, so there was a crowd of people who were stacking flyers on the guy's head. So it was like this thing. How many flyers can people put on his head before they fall off? And it was a joke. It was harmless. It's a little insensitive because he's drunk, but he's passed out in public. You kind of ask for it. And it could be worse. So as people are putting the flyers on his head, we're all standing around kind of laughing at it. A girl who she was like a kind of punkish, I don't know what to call it, but she had like goth. That's what it was. She was gothy. And she had these big boots on. She walks up to the guy. She starts kicking him in the shins. Wake up, you drunk motherfucker. And like everybody's there. It just kind of stank up the place. Nobody thought that was funny. Nobody was in on that part of the joke. It was all kind of harmless until she came up and started booting him in the shins. And I just looked at my homeboy. I was like, now, if he wakes up and slaps the shit out of her, then he's the bad guy, right? And she heard me say that. And when she heard me say that, she kind of took a few steps toward me. And she was like, who the fuck? Ain't nobody gonna fucking touch me, motherfucker. And I don't know what came over me. It was the spirit of Iceberg Slim. And I looked at her. I said, I got a bitch at home right now with a black eye for talking some shit like you just talked. That's what I told her. I freestyled it off the top. I had no clue I was going to say that. I got a bitch at home with a black eye right now from talking like you was just talking. Now say something else. And her heart sank. She looked at me like she 100% believed that I had a woman at home with a black eye and I would give her one too. And she folded herself into a nice little origami ball of humility and she walked away. And that was, to me, that was the highest iteration of how that situation could have ended. I wasn't going to hit her. I didn't expect her to call my bluff. I thought she would understand the danger that was possibly going to happen, and she'd walk away, and that's exactly what happened. Now, if she had called my bluff, I'm shit out of luck. I don't know what I was going to do. But everybody with me, my friends, they all laughed.
I think you would have had to have hit her. You can't draw a line in the sand.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
It'd have gone really bad. Like you kind of painted yourself into a corner. I'm glad she took the bait.
Yeah, that was a Jedi mind trick for sure. It was a pimp Jedi mind trick, and she felt it. She believed me in that moment, and that's what I wanted because you got to think about this. Like Spartan Existence just said, women don't understand how fast violence can escalate. I think in in the society, the gynocentric kind of society that we have, we've been telling them for so long, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, a man can never hit you and blah, blah, blah. And when women deal with each other, it depends on, what the demographic is or the crowd you're around. It could escalate to violence pretty quick. Somebody will fuck you up, drag you down the street by your hair weave and shit. You never know. But I think they are a lot more comfortable with yelling, talking shit, calling each other bitches, and they might just walk off by the end of it. They might just walk off by the. Nobody necessarily has to get hurt. Dudes, people will die if somebody's sneaker gets stepped on. It's just a different situation. I think women need to understand that. Men are not carrying around the concept of chivalry in their minds anymore. They're not like, oh, this woman, she can spit on me and slap my face and there's nothing I can do. No, you might get punched just for talking. Not that that's right, but you got to be prepared for the world that we live in. You got to go out into the world knowing
there has to be respect on both sides.
There should be respect on both sides. But like I said, a dude who will escalate to violence from talking. I don't care what she's talking about. I don't care if she say your mama's a slut. I don't give a fuck what she say. You cannot
your life is
hit
forfeit.
a woman first.
I think that it may seem a little harsh if humanity had it to do all over again. I think that should have made it in the top 10. We can replace one of the commandments. Don't covet your neighbor's shit. You can start coveting shit again, but if you escalate violence with a woman, then your life is forfeit.
Yeah.
I think that's a good solid rule.
Off of here. First of all, you on thin ice. You on probationary thin ice if you are willing to engage a woman in an argument. Especially a stranger. Like, if you and your wife got a disagreement, first of all, this shouldn't be happening in public either. But if you and your wife got a disagreement, voices get raised and shit, y'all got history with each other, you kind of know, like, play that out however you need to play it out. Get to the bottom of it. Solve the problem. You kiss each other and have some makeup sex. That's awesome. That's fine. But if you're a man and you're out in public and you're arguing with a woman you don't know about some arbitrary shit,
You're
on probation. You're on probation, son. Yeah, we're going to watch you for a couple months to see what else you're doing with your life. And if you get mad enough, and I'm not even going to blame it on anything the woman said. Whatever she says is fair because it's a woman. And she's arguing with a man who could kill her with his bare hands. So we already know she ain't wrapped too tight. She has no self-preservation. There's no switch flipping in her mind like, hey, I could get fucked up. It's probably not her first rodeo. She's probably been punched around in her life before, which is why she didn't see any reason to try to defuse this shit. She was just like, nah, let's ride it out, son. And under those circumstances, you kind of get what you get. She survived. So that was some punitive shit, but she also, son had to lose his life. And I'm totally okay with that. If you're willing to punch a woman in the face 2 times because you arguing in a chicken spot, get him off of here, bro.
And we're all clear that the 14-year-old kid had to murder him.
He had to.
Well, once you shot him once and he leaves,
Finish
you don't know if he's going to get something else.
Right. We in
Chicago.
We in Chicago.
Right. So So the moment, like, once you get that first shot, you kind of understand. Like, you kind of gotta just accept. Like, you might as well not even run. You might as well just kind of accept. Okay, this guy has to murder me now. We've crossed the line.
Yeah,
he has
to.
I get
it. It's like if you on a camping trip and you smoking a joint or something, you throw it on the ground and you see it's not lit. You can't just leave it there. You got to go step on it. Smokey the Bear type shit. You can't just let.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. This could turn into a wildfire. It could burn down half the forest. So even if it blows away a little bit, you got to chase it down and step on it. Not that this person was a smoked joint, but it's just the same thing. If you like I said, get them off of here. You punched a woman. I don't really need it. Now, again, if she hits you first, all bets are off.
And I think that's what brings balance to the fore. That's why I think this is a sound and righteous judgment.
Yeah.
If the violence is enacted upon you first, then we can get to this. There's no difference between men and women.
Right.
We've engaged in even keel combat. Everything is fair. Yeah, you just go at it. That's it. The woman punches you first. I don't think I can personally do it, but I will. But there is nothing. Listen, if you gotta pay the same wage, if you gotta, you get to say, like, okay, you get to join the military, you get to be a Navy SEAL, okay, cool, no problem. You have to get the same stakes. And the stakes are, if you punch somebody, you absolutely have to get punched back. Very rarely will you not get punched back. So I can't deny the equity there.
Yeah.
But if you as a man initiate on the woman, your life is forfeit. I think that's a happy equilibrium. I think this has to be codified universally.
Yeah.
Or after Russia has the nuclear war, whatever, and humanity's rebuilding, I think those are the first two things that get laid out. If you hit a woman first, we can kill you. Well, if a woman hits a man first, he can beat her as if she's a man.
He can.
And
now,
we can just take it from there.
So Legit's in the comments. He said proportional violence equals honor, which I kind of agree with. I kind of agree. I ain't gonna front. I kind of agree with that. It might be a little bit sarcastic, but I'm on your team with that one. And Spartan says, don't punch her back, just put her in a submission hold. I have to say that it's at the discretion of the person who's been attacked. I'm not going to take, me personally.
Nobody wants to hold on to, yes, you can punch her back. It feels,
it feels wrong.
That bored and uncomfortable. But if you approach it logic, right.
That's your bigotry.
That's the patriarchy talking.
Scratching and kicking and screaming as you're trying to drag it out into the light.
Punch the shit out.
Yeah, you're trying to drag you're trying to drag your bigotry out into the light, but it doesn't want to go. It doesn't want a light shined on it. It's kicking and screaming and scratching the walls. It doesn't want to be pulled out. If you want to be able to hit a man and not get hit back, or even hold him to a discretion, like, okay, don't punch me, just put me in a chokehold or submission, not choke, but a submission hold. If you want to be able to make that call, you can't vote and you can't have a bank account. No voting, no bank account.
What?
If a woman wants to have the possibility of hitting a man and not being hit back, you can't vote anymore. You can't have a bank account and you can't own property. But if you want to exist in an equal world where you can run, you can be a CEO, you can talk the same shit men talk, you can do all that, then if you punch a man, you get punched back. You can't have the rights and privileges of an equal society, but also hold people to a gynocentric imbalance of power. And I know women are masters of quantum cake. They want to eat the cake and never have it disappear. I don't want the slice to get any smaller, but I want to gorge myself on it. I get that as a concept. That doesn't work in the third dimension.
No, this is a purifying ritual. When you punch a woman in the face back, you're exercising patriarchy out of your soul.
Right.
You're exercising the corruption of patriarchy in your soul and returning fire. Yet you put her in a submission hold. That's what you would do to a child.
Right.
When your 9-year-old punches you, you don't punch your 9-year-old back because they're not your equal. They're a tiny little 9-year-old. And so you put them in a submission hold. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're saying that woman is a child. She's a child.
No.
She can't make her own decisions. She can't calculate the risk on her own.
Emotional beings.
No. Don't be racist. Hit women back.
Right. It's the big... Is that the line in the sand? If you won't punch a woman in the face back after she's punched you, you basically celebrate slavery.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Men should not be fighting men in any way, bro. One time I got into a fight, bro. It got so bad. I broke my pinky and I didn't even know I broke my pinky. I'm
from hitting her over and over?
Not hitting her over and over, blocking hits.
Blocking hits. No. Okay.
Yeah, and then
I misjudged you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's because you should have been counterpunching. You should have been counterpunching.
Turtling.
No, but I'm saying is I had this rage, I'm blocking like a bat, but I don't even feel the hits. You see what I'm saying? So it's bro. No woman should be arguing any man whatsoever, because the power and the rage that's gonna come out of him, it's not good.
Potentially,
it's not good.
I'm not taking it, bro.
I still listen. I think the majority of men. I could be wrong, and it might even be a small majority. 65%, right? It's not a huge majority. 65-35, maybe the split. I think most men would just take it. They'd go to work the next day with the black eye. They'd eat it. They
Yeah,
just be like,
but
fuck
it
it.
builds up when she hits you
Uh,
again and again and again.
well, you might make some arrangements like I can't fuck with this crazy bitch anymore. You might make some arrangements, but I think most people would just be like, nah. And I just can't see. I don't know. And of course I'm speaking for I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself. I can't see. I can't see arguing with a woman you're not in a relationship
Oh
with.
yeah.
Right.
Why
Oh,
would you want to bring on the tactics of a woman argument unnecessarily?
she
You
already
don't have
thinks
to
she's
argue
right.
with you have to argue with your woman. You can try to just shut it down or avoid it, but eventually you're not going to be able to duck the argument. But a woman argument with a woman you don't have any obligation to argue with, why would you want to engage in a woman argument?
Right.
A woman argument is the most frustrating kind of argument you could get roped up into.
Right. Especially
And
for
they
a man.
set you up for failure. They
Because
set
you
up for
think
failure.
there's a
Time
logical
after time.
end to this. There's not.
There's no
There's no logical end to this. You're
Sure, I'll
arguing
play
with a
this
woman,
game
bro.
of chess with you. Sure.
reason.
You're arguing
There's
with a
no-
woman who doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She doesn't respect you. Even the ones who love you and respect you can get, that shit can get a little
Right.
squirrely. So imagine somebody who has no connection to you. She has no need.
Who's been taught to have no filter and you mean nothing to her.
Right. That
Why
not a
is she
person
going to
to
be an
argue with,
honest
bro.
broker of problem solving?
If you argue with a man who feels that way, the only way to end it is to punch him in the face. That's what I'm saying.
And we
that would
hug
make
and we
sense.
say we love you, brother, and it's the problem solved.
That would make sense. Like the cops come, what happened here? I told him if he said one more word, I was gonna knock him out. What did he do? He kept talking. So you punched him out? Okay, well, yeah, it makes sense. But when it's a woman, come on, man. You broken in the brain already. Something ain't
That's
right.
why they
with
gotta
you.
lock you up. They're like, hey, brother, I gotta lock you up.
We
You argued
gotta
with a
lock
woman.
you up. You super
You argued with a
unstable.
woman. You
Not
failed
for-
by arguing with the woman.
We're not locking you up for
Damn.
hitting her. We're locking you up for engaging in an argument long enough that you wanted to hit her. You should have
Right,
been
and-
walked
and-
away from
and-
this.
And listen, and we're going to press charges on her because clearly she initiated violence. She brought violence into the equation and she struck you first. But because you even began the argument, yeah. So either way, once you've crossed the threshold of the argument, you've got prison time. You've
Yeah.
got some kind of time, at least on a level 2 Dante's correctional facility situation. You have to be removed out of the equation.
Yeah, we got to get you out.
You're
of here,
bad
man.
for society.
Terrible. There's no way that you can be trusted to exist out in the world. This is a road rager. This is a
Oh, I
guy
hate road rage.
who, if
I
you don't
hate road
make
rage.
the red light, if you don't make the turn at the red light when he thought you could have, he jumps out of his car and hits your car with a bat. Like, this is a completely unstable human, and I know all this because you argued with a woman and you let her escalate you to violence. You ain't got what it takes to exist in society.
And how could and what is the situation where you could be upset in that setting that much
Right.
that it would bring like what could have brought that about? Like there's you're in a situation where you have enough money in your pocket to go into a place where they're going to bring you cheese covered on bread with tomatoes and animals on top of it. There's no animals anywhere close. There's no
Right.
vineyards or tomatoes anywhere close. All of these magical systems in place have brought you this convenience to be able to go to this spot and you can get food with that ease of access.
Right.
I don't know if you understood the history of the world or what humans do. These humans have a horrible track record, but things could be much worse. Things could be much worse than that situation. How can you be in a shitty enough mood to where you're like, I'm here. I'm about to enjoy a delicious pizza.
Right.
Something has gone awry. Words have been exchanged. I'm going to punch a woman in the face and get murdered. That's where it's, I could have just enjoyed a pizza. This magical process that got all these delicious ingredients available to me. This is so easy. And still,
Right.
you can't be grateful for that. You have to find a petty reason I just don't know what she could have said. It had to have been about somebody cutting in line or there couldn't have, like it had to have been something.
There's nothing that.
Why else would you interact with a stranger at a pizza shop?
Nothing.
Like it couldn't
You
have
see
been
how
an
you're looking for
argument over
logic?
anything.
You see how you're looking for
anything
logic right
meaningful.
now?
We're going too deep.
This is the exact reason why
Okay,
that
I'm
man-
arguing with a woman. You're right. I'm sorry. I deserve time. 60 days at least.
No, it's just looking at the world. It's
Yeah.
looking at the world. You're seeing what's going on out here, and it doesn't make any sense. And fortunately, you're so far removed from it. You know how many people looked at that video and was like, "Yeah, I'd have punched that bitch too."
They said it in the background.
Yeah,
There's a tiny applause before the gunshot.
that's
for
why
sure.
she wanted her son to shoot the other person, because he was like, he told her stop talking. It made perfect sense to that guy, whoever it was. He's like, and honestly, somebody cocks their hand back and say one more thing and I'm gonna knock you out, and you keep talking. I mean, you have to be a little bit like, well, he did, tell you to stop talking.
No, this was a pissing match. She
That's
was
definitely
already
what
texting.
I'm not gonna lie. That's definitely what I thought in my head after she got punched. It was like, he did tell you.
Right, but
He did tell you to shut
but
up.
she knew she was willing to escalate because she's already. I didn't know that was a part of the story. But if she was already texting the kid, she was already like, "Look, I know I'm wrong. I know he already laid down the gauntlet, but I've already called in the assassin. There's
Yeah.
nothing
I
like
got the
I've
gun.
already escalated to this degree." Right, I gotta just ride this out. Like she reached a point of no return in her mind, where no matter how petty the circumstances were that started the shit, she's like, well, we're just gonna ride this thing out and see how it goes. Just you could have just been like, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. Here, let me hand you your pizza. And I'll be on my way. Well, let's go enjoy our respective pizzas on different ends of the universe if we have to. We can part ways at this place and time and never have to deal with each other again. Or we can care enough until one of us is murdered.
Son kept saying,
It really
"Get
is
your
mind-boggling.
food. Get your food.
Get your food.
He's
Get
like,
your
yo,
food. That's all she had to do was get
all
her
she
food.
had to do was get her food and walk off.
And she looked like she likes food. There's nothing wrong with that.
Bro. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. It doesn't make any logical sense. But for some reason, this is the way people like to express themselves in public places. Why? I'll never really know. Personally, I'm willing to walk away.
Yeah.
I don't care that much.
I was like at a gas station in the middle of the night one time. I think I was
Damn.
buying blunts. This was like in the city too. I pull up, like just back and forth yelling and screaming. I probably stood there for 5 seconds. I was like, I gotta go somewhere else. Like, why am I here? Like, why? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it never does.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It's so terrible to watch. This is horrible.
Well, fortunately, the actual connection of the punch didn't get caught on the video.
Because they jumped back too.
They was like,
They're like, oh,
damn.
he did it.
He was
You're
like,
not gonna get a good angle when you get that goddamn moment.
yeah. Yeah, that's that you got knocked the fuck out from Friday. Like, ooh, damn. He told you to shut up.
We saw it escalating, but I didn't expect it.
And the more I look at it, you know what? And I really, really don't want anybody to think that I'm here to justify this man's actions, because I completely agree with him being taken off of here after these actions. So that tells you how I feel about it. But look at how he's pleading with her to shut up and leave him alone. Just look at his body language. Look at his whole shit.
Which is the nicest way a man
Who?
can
Get
talk
the cop?
to you.
Hey,
This is
hey,
how you
get your food. Get your food. If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my grandma, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
Yeah, see, he tried. He was like, yo, he even put his hand
He was a man on the edge.
On
the
He
edge.
was really
You see
pleading
the praying motion
for
that he
relief.
does right here?
Yes.
He was
He clutched
Yes.
his hands together like, yo,
He gave her
please
time.
leave me alone.
Get your food.
Because he
Look,
couldn't stop himself.
The guy's giving her the food in the background because he
Yeah,
knows.
he's like, please get your food, lady.
Just get your food and leave, lady.
He couldn't stop himself.
Ugh.
That's what it was. He couldn't stop himself, so he needed her to stop because he's already
Yeah,
lit. He's
that's all
already
it
on
is.
fire. And
I've done that.
And a lot
I'd
of
be
dudes
like, yo,
don't know how to back
leave.
themselves off. They don't
Yeah.
know how to put it in reverse. They're like, I'm already here now, so I can't give you any ground. I have to just ride this out to its end. Whatever the end is, if that means you killing me killing you, we men, we just got to do it. We can't go in reverse.
Yeah.
It's all gas, no
I've
brakes.
been there, and I'll tell people like, yo, just leave, go, don't bother me, stop talking, leave, because it's only gonna get worse.
I'll leave, bro. And not till I get my food, but I'm just not. I'm not with it, bro. Because I understand. Again, I've said this before, and you know, people who know me understand this about me. I'm going to the fair, bro. I'm going to the fair. This is not going to be like some little. No, if I have to enact violence on somebody for the way that they're acting, and I'm going to try everything possible in this situation to get out of here without fighting. But if I gotta fight, I'm going all the way. I'm not gonna just put you down and walk off, bro. I'm gonna try to stomp you into burger.
Try to get the last hit in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to turn you into burger, bro, because I know that's what it takes for most people to learn. Especially if you pushing aggression with somebody who's showing you that they don't want to fight, and you keep going. It's like, oh, you want me to fold you up and pack you away? Like that's what you want. This
Like
is
the
not a
Taxstone
person-
story.
Yeah, you don't want a resolution. Oh, you want me to shoot you in the eye? Like that's Taxstone's like, oh, okay. You don't want to stop
I'ma
bullying
choke
me.
you out.
You
I'ma
want me to
choke
shoot you in the face? Okay, I got you. I got one of those in me. I got a fresh one for you. So that's the only language some people understand. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. So they gotta get what they gotta get. And like I said, super unfortunate. It sucks that she had to get punched in the face. It sucks that homie had to die over some silly shit.
Petty nonsense.
And it sucked that her 14-year-old son had to take somebody's life in defense of his mother. It's a horrible situation from top to bottom. But what else is happening in the world these days other than horrible situations from top to bottom? That seems to be just par for the course for 2023. That's just what's happening.
Man, that's part of the plan. You know that rapper that got killed a while back? I forgot his name. The one that got killed in the Waffle House.
Oh yeah.
They called his son to rob and kill him too. I don't know if they called to kill him, but they definitely called this like a kid to rob him.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's ridiculous.
I don't
Everything
know.
is the world has been on a steep decline ever since Harambe died, and I didn't really know.
Dude.
Yeah, once Harambe
I
went,
think that's when it all changed.
that's when the world changed. It's no coming back from that. That was like pulling the stopper out of the bathtub, and the water starts to circle a drain, and now you got that little vortex going. Harambe was the plug. When they pulled the plug on everything when Harambe died, and it's all just been on a steep decline ever since. If you don't believe me, do the history. Go back to what the world looked like when Harambe was still alive, and then the day after they killed Harambe, just look at the news and just see what happened after that day. It's all been on a steep decline since then. I think that was the nail in the car. That was the linchpin right there.
that was the start of BLM.
Damn. It might have been the same day that CERN did like their first particle collider.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That might have been why CERN was invented, to go back in time and make sure Harambe was killed.
Or make sure we don't kill him. It just hasn't worked yet. They're trying to open a wormhole so we can go back to a time before we killed Harambe.
Okay.
See?
So they're the good guys. They're trying to save us
Yeah, somebody from the
post
future
Harambe.
figured it out. Some
an 8-ball
humans from the
jacket.
future, they're in an 8-ball jacket, and they're trying to escape the aspic future. They're living on some dilapidated planet, and they're just like, how did we get here? What happened? Like, hey, our scientists traced it back to the day that Harambe died, bro.
Something changed in humans.
Yeah, once they saw that,
That was the true meaning of 12 Monkeys.
Harambe died because of bad parenting.
That's true.
All bad parenting.
You know, kids can always, they play around in the clothes rack when you go to the department store, and they'll wander off. But once your kid gets in a cage with an animal,
Yeah, you fucked up.
you know, you fucked up. You fucked up. Like, why is your kid? That's why I don't get mad when I see parents with those kid leashes.
Oh, no.
It looks harsh. It's like, nope. Fuck it. This kid will run into traffic. And you know what? You've got things to do. You
Right.
can't give them all your attention. You're at Disneyland. You
Yeah.
want to enjoy things too. You know, put your fucking kid on the leash. It's fine.
Every
I don't
good
see-
parent, and I'm not even going to go with the bad parents, the people who are lax. Good parents, people who love their children, they're attentive, they're watching over them. Every good parent has had that feeling where you're out in public. Where the fuck is my kid? Where'd it go? Oh, okay, there you are. Shit. Just for a few seconds, you're like, where the fuck is the kid, bro? It just got out of your eyesight. They turned a little corner, and you didn't realize it. You get that jostle in your emotions and shit, and then the kids show, okay, there you are. Like you said, in the clothes rack. You're looking around the
Right.
thrift store, you don't see your kid, and he pops his head from out of there, like, oh, fuck, there you are.
But then one day you look in the bottom of a gorilla pit, and there's a gorilla holding your baby.
You fucked up big time. You know what happened? Is you lost your kid's mad time before, and it didn't settle in you to make you pay more attention. Something led up to this. You lost your kid in Walmart. You lost him in Target. You lost him at the Wawa. You lost him at the thrift store, and nothing made you become a closer watch on it. Like, it just didn't stick. Nothing happened to you to change you, and then it ended up in the gorilla pit. And lucky for you, it was a nice gorilla who was just like, I'm just gonna hold you here until they come rescue you, because this
Because
is
you're definitely not supposed to be here.
And he didn't like beat him to death. He was just like, oh, look, it's a kid. You got on clothes. Hey, look at your shirt. Like, it was super curious, but unfortunately for the rest of us, everybody thought Harambe had to die, and we've been suffering ever since. I think we suffered more after Harambe died than after Eve ate the
Nobody
apple.
thought of shooting the darts at Harambe. Like, it was
Bro.
just straight bullets.
Nah, he had an African name. You got to kill that motherfucker. If his name was Jojo the gorilla, he might have lived. But his name was Harambe. You got to take him off of here.
They got there by shooting them with darts, and they're like, once you get to the zoo, it's bullets after that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking about the liability. I'm just thinking about the nightmare, the lawsuits. I mean, I'm sure they already got sued, but then if the kid gets killed, and maybe the gorilla means well, but it doesn't speak English, you can't negotiate with it. You're not sure you're going to be on the same page. Like, I don't know how you just don't take the shots. Once it's grabbing onto the kid, if it tossed the kid back up or something, or brought him up, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, but maybe he had to hold him close to protect him. He's thinking, what if the other gorillas come? I got to make sure he's protected.
Yeah, he was being super nice.
Right. I don't know how you get out of that situation.
You just see what happens. You maybe dart the gorilla. You try to, because he didn't look aggressive. How long do you think it takes a gorilla to kill a 7-year-old?
I don't think it takes too long. They do it all the time.
In an instant.
Yeah.
Dude, there's videos of them eating their kids, bro. It's ridiculous.
In less than 3 seconds, the child is in pieces.
Yeah.
A gorilla can rip your limbs off. No problem.
So once he doesn't kill the 7-year-old in 10 seconds,
maybe it's clear he's not gonna. Was he a silverback gorilla?
Yeah.
That looks like a silverback. That looks like the ones that look.
That
really
shit is
scary.
terrifying.
Yeah, they're the ones who really fuck you up, bro.
And all he did was play in the pool with him.
Yeah, he was like, maybe if I splash him around a little bit, it'll calm down. Because the kid was crying, and I think that might have irritated him a little bit. But just to show everybody, this is when humanity changed right here. This is what fucked us. After this, everything went bad, bro.
I like how the music is.
Yeah, this is a problem.
Look at him, bro. He was just chilling. Let me get this music out of here, just in case.
The music makes it look.
It makes it a lot worse. Yeah, it does.
Like, they should have never killed this fucking.
Everybody's on Harambe's side, bro. No, there's nobody except the cops who had the guns that believe Harambe should have died. Everybody's on his side, yo. In the wild, I'm certain the boy wouldn't have been killed. He wouldn't have been killed here either. Harambe was chilling. He ain't want to hurt nobody.
Harambe knew what time it is. He know he's in the zoo and he's around the other apes.
Yeah, he's
he
like,
knew.
y'all dropped one of y'all babies in here.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, hey, I'm trying to give this back to you.
He's not even holding them by the foot. Like, he's like, all right, look.
Right.
Maybe if I take him over
they're
here.
going to kill me. You don't get out of here.
Yeah, if you don't get out of here, I'm dead. Kid. Want to go for a little swim or?
I don't know how to get out of this cage, kid, but then they're going to kill me.
Bro, yeah. He's just checking out his clothes. Yeah. If he was going to kill that kid would have been dead.
It would have happened. It would have been a different video.
Right, and I don't even...
a video we couldn't show on YouTube.
Dude, there's nothing that Mortal Kombat has done to date that would be as horrific as what would have happened to that child in the instance a silverback gorilla decides that he's done with you.
And it would have took 15 seconds.
Because I don't know.
Not even 15. It took about 8 seconds. And then the rest of the time would have been everybody
1 second, that
all.
gorilla would have seen a threat in that child and murdered it.
Right.
Without a thought.
Yeah.
Without a thought.
Actually. Yeah, super quick. It wouldn't have been a problem. But yeah, Harambe, bro. Trace the history. Go look back and tell me that's not where humanity flushed itself. And we've been struggling to escape the vortex ever since. We've been swimming against the current, trying to escape the vortex, the riptide ever since.
Let's time travel and save Harambe. T-shirt.
I think that's what solidified it for the aliens. I think that's when they started just admitting, yeah, there's definitely aliens. Because I think that's when they decided, like, yep, I mean, they've kind of sealed their fate. Like, look how they looked at a well-intentioned creature that was beneath them. Beneath their sophisticated technological advancements, but clearly there's some sort of basic biological connection. Like I recognize this is one of your young that needs to be cared for and protect. You know what I mean? And it's like, what did we do? We didn't take any chances. We can't communicate with it. It's a lower life form. We just got to take it out. We can't look if we try to send in this unsophisticated silverback beast. If we try to send in an ambassador to negotiate it with it, it could rip us limb from limb. It could rip that tiny baby that it's been so lovingly caring for. It could rip it limb for limb, even though it hasn't done it. But it could do it, so we have to murder it. And then the aliens were like, we can show up now. They've showed us who they are. Right. We've got the green light to murder them all. Yeah. we can't send in the alien ambassador. What would they do with our sophisticated technology? They would just do gorilla shit, murder them all. We have to go and murder these land gorillas. These intergalactic gorillas. I don't know. This is probably on their map, Planet Gorilla. We are the planet of the apes. It's a biography. That's who Earth is in the grander scheme of things. So the aliens can come here and wipe us out, and what we did to Harambe and what we do to chickens and cows every day, it kind of seals our fate. So I don't know. Maybe that was a pivotal point in humanity when everything had to start to fall apart because we sealed our fate in that moment. Humanity collectively made a decision to seal our fate.
That's when humanity started using Ben Affleck Batman logic. And he said they're trying to tell him that Superman is not an enemy, and he said if there's even a 1% chance that this could go bad, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Like, that's not even mathematically sound, sir. If there's a 1% chance that Superman could be bad, we got to kill him today. Like, do we not want to do a little bit more research, or see, can we get it up to like a 40% chance? Nope. If there's a 1% chance, we kill him. Get me some fucking kryptonite and I'm going to stab him in the heart, just in case. That's how we treated Harambe. If there's a 1% chance that this gorilla could kill this child, we got to kill a gorilla. Okay, well, there's definitely a 1% chance that he could kill him, but it doesn't look like it. I don't care. Kill him. And we're screwed. This is, I do want to check this video out a little bit before we're down to 17 minutes. That clock be going fast, bro, when we put the clock on. It's like, yeah, keep it tight, fellas. But this is a person who I stumbled across on the internet recently. And this is a trans man, which is a person who was assigned female at birth. I'll use that language just to make sure nobody gets triggered. Was assigned female at birth and decided to transition into a man. And they're having a little bit of a hard time. Like, this happens a lot, though. Remember the journalist that she was a feminist journalist and was like, I think men have it easier and all of this kind of stuff. So she disguised herself as a man, went out to try to date women, did it for a couple of years, ended up committing suicide once she saw how women treat men and how she was being treated after presenting herself as a man for so long, and never really got over it. I think it had a lot to do with her being so wrong in her assumptions that she couldn't just move past it. Like, oh, well, things are a little different than I thought. It was so deep, and she had seen so much into what it's like to be in female spaces as a male, and she just never recovered from it and killed herself eventually. This person is definitely having some issues. Just listen to this a little bit and tell me what you think.
Nobody told me how lonely being a man is. I had closer friendships with random women I met in the bathroom before I transitioned at clubs because of how open women are than I've had in my 8 years of transitioning. Because women are just so much more vulnerable and deep than men. But to have known, and I think a lot of trans men feel this, is we knew what depth felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to have people want to hug us. And to have people want to talk to us. And to have a community. And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you.
Welcome to manhood.
I'm disappointed.
Nobody cares about you. Yeah, dude. Nobody cares.
Nobody
Your feelings
cares.
hurt. Nobody cares. No,
Welcome
matter
to
of fact,
manhood.
not only does nobody care, people are gonna try to get you so angry and won't shut the fuck up till you have to punch them. People hate you. People don't care about your feelings. They want you to take it and be the punching bag. Be a fucking man. Solve the problem. Fuck you. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, but you forced your way into this club. You weren't even born in. What did you think you were transitioning into? Because men already knew. Men knew. We knew. Nobody cares. Now, as a man, if you're walking down the street at night, right, and you see a group, 2 or 3 women ahead of you, and they cross the street to avoid you, what do you feel from that as a man?
As a black man, it's a normal occurrence.
Of course, right?
I would hope. I'm glad to see them being safe. Have you seen me? You should go to the other side. Go to the other side. I wouldn't walk on the same side as me.
And this is man logic. I'm glad you're making a decision for your own self-preservation. No, I'm not a creeper. I'm not a man who's going to tackle you and drag you in the bushes, but it's probably smart that you cross the street just in case.
Play it safe. Glad you're playing it safe.
But as a woman who transitioned into a man, you are traumatized and hurt by that.
You want to hug so bad. Get the fuck out of here.
I started chasing these women down the street.
Just to tell
I was
them
like, why won't you just hug me?
Hug me.
So
This is so mean.
To let them know I wasn't.
I thought you were vulnerable and deep and warm.
Right.
Oh my
Now
God, he
we
wants
have
to
a
rape
penis
us. He's talking
hanging
about how
out,
we're deep and
sir.
warm. No, I want to be connected.
Grape.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, it's
Terrible.
good.
I feel bad for him.
And friendships are so much harder to build. And people are colder. What's hard is none of this invalidates how real and raw women and people who are in marginalized groups feel about cis white men. All of that's valid.
How you like that part? You cross the street when you see me coming, and it hurts. I cry. But everything you feel about cis white men is valid. It's fine.
Right. I am trying to rape you, is what I think what he's saying.
But just not me. I'm not gonna take you to the vineyard.
Me, but my demographic, we're definitely into that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
not
hurts
we
my feelings.
per se, but them.
No, but he joined on. He signed up. He nobody was trying to recruit him, but he's like, look, I want in. I want a part of this enterprise. And I think this just goes to like you know how they argue like the man and the woman brain. There's a difference.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it's not just physical. It's not just a dick and a long pussy. It's not. Okay, well, what is it? What is it? Well, it is your wiring and the way you think. And there's some effeminate men and there's some masculine women. And that's okay. Your brain's wired the way that you're wired. But the thing is if you're a dude and you're trying to make bonds with other dudes, but really you have tendencies that are womanly, you are going to have a hard time. Having dude relationship is a refuge from everything that's feminine. That's what a dude friendship kind of will boil down to. Like if you're having to deal with the feminine issues with a dude of yours that's a friend, it's like, wait a minute, is this my friend or am I dating this chick? Like this is like there's just certain levels of involvement and drama that I don't think you'd be as apt to have with a biological dude that you may have with a trans dude, but who has female tendencies. It probably is tough to connect on that level, and he's probably not interested because he was like, women are so much deeper, but he probably feels like a lot of the shit is like they just give a fuck about sports and dumb shit that I don't care about. I'm not interested. I don't like the shit that they like.
Right.
I think you'd just be better off being with whatever equipment you got, and if you're on a spectrum in one degree or the other, you might be a chick that has more dude friends than girlfriends, and that would be okay. Even if you were a lesbian, you had no sexual interest in dudes, but you might find as a girl, I just like hanging out with dudes better. And I think there would be dudes who'd be more comfortable hanging out with you as a chick than as you presenting as a dude, but really you're a chick. You know what I mean? I think that would be uniquely challenging. Is that just me?
No, definitely. Absolutely. It makes sense because what's happening is this person is bringing. This is a person who decided to become male, right? Which is fine. I don't have anywhere near
Yeah, whatever
enough
makes him happy.
scientific knowledge and shit to figure. I don't know
You
what's going on with it.
transform.
It is what it is. Do what you got to do. But you're bringing these things that are expressly the way females deal with each other. He said I had more meaningful. I formed more meaningful relationships with strange women that I met in the bathroom. Because that's what women do in the bathroom.
Because they could
Right.
sit down and talk to each other.
Yeah, they
Men
go in the
don't have
bathroom, they
time
put on their
to do
makeup,
that in
and
the
they
bathroom.
giggle. Hey, girl, give me your number. You go into a men's bathroom and start talking to a dude if you want
There's
to.
already separation from the stall.
gonna
There's
get your
you,
ass
the
beat.
stall, and another man.
You're going to get
Like,
knocked out, fam. You can't go in there and start asking questions. How's your day going, buddy? You're going to the floor. You're getting knocked out. This is not where you want to be. So and to bring these things in, and then from you know what? Let me just let him finish.
But I also now understand why the suicide rate is so much higher in men. Because this shit is lonely.
Oh yeah.
And I'm an emotionally mature man. I know how to build friendships.
I'm sorry.
You're an emotionally mature woman.
Yes,
in a man's
that's-
But because you've made this transition, you consider your brain chemistry that you brought with you as naturally masculine, and now you're trying to figure out why other men won't meet you where you are. Is that just not
Yeah, it's tragedy.
more just feminine privilege that he's explaining?
Yes.
Like, is it me
This is
or?
all feminism's fault. All
I
of
ain't
it.
trying to hate. I'm just saying it's weird that you bring this in with you and then start looking around at the men like, how come y'all aren't doing this how I'm doing it? Really?
And it is
Look, I
still
feel
really hard. Try to think about how you can, in your small little community where you feel safe, can reach out to the men in your life and just help them feel maybe safe for a moment.
It's mad gay, bro.
do little conversations to help their emotional maturity so that they can
Yeah, have little conversations to help these men's emotional maturity so they can.
right.
You gotta
wanting
fix these
men
men.
to be something different. But listen, and this is why fuck it all. You have to check out because I don't want to be mad about none of this shit. I don't care, but I feel bad.
Yeah,
I feel bad for that kid who's gonna have to now get a murder charge. I feel bad for the dude that lost his life. I feel bad for the woman that got punched. I feel bad for this dude who's finding that altering his body with chemicals isn't giving him the experience that he thought he was in for.
Right.
I feel bad for all of this shit. I can't get outraged or concerned about it anymore. Dude, when I go on Twitter, you know what it feels like, or even watch shit on YouTube, it feels like you walk into a restaurant and everybody's just eating piles of shit. You just walk in and everybody like couldn't be happier. They're selecting different kind of sauces, like to go on top of it, like seasoning it, you know, putting it just. But it's you go in there, it's like, yo, am I smelling and seeing something completely? Why does everyone seem so like this is delicious? Like I'm looking at it all horrified, and I'm like, okay, but this is where human consciousness is acutely focused at the moment.
Yeah.
So if I go there, now I give a fuck like everybody else gives a fuck. But the reality is if you grounded in the enterprise that you're undertaking, you already know like this is you're already arguing with a woman. Fixing the planet is arguing with the woman. You are that stranger. It's like, nope, you should get your pizza and leave. Don't tell her, don't even bother to tell her, just get your food and go. No, sir. You get your food and go. And a matter of fact, you can just leave without your food. Just get away from the pettiness and dumbness of that situation. And I think I think for the health of the human consciousness, I think you have to just completely abandon being tuned into current events.
Right.
You can't go for long periods of time. It's almost like getting into reality should just be like a vision quest. Like you did a bunch of peyote and turned into a coyote for a weekend and you saw the future or some shit, or your calling in life. Like, that's what it is. Like, it takes a lot out of you, and you just go. Like, okay, so what's happening in the world? All right, I've spent my 6 hours for the month. I don't want to hear anything about it again. I'm going to get back out into the garden and start building shit. I'm going to start getting all the rules for this section of the cult in preparation of humanity's inevitable collapse or civilization's inevitable collapse, and just get the bylaws of my compound together, because none of this other shit is doing anything for me. It's just helping us all be angry at each other. It's mountains of restaurant grade shit. Yeah. Is the focus of human attention. And so when you go into the square and you look around, it's like, well, this is what's happening. I guess I got to be interested in some of it. The truth is, not interested in any of it. Could care less. It's destined to be this way, and there's nothing we can do about it. You can't fix it. You can't argue with this woman. You just have to get your pizza and go to your compound and enjoy it. Otherwise, someone's going to murder you. You're going to get murdered.
Or you're going to murder somebody.
It's the only thing that can happen.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, there's no way around it. I was talking to one of my homies last night, and he was talking about how, people are starting to wake up, and the aliens and Epstein and the pedophiles and the freaking, adrenochrome drinkers and all this shit.
Which all may be real shit.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit. But it's like when we had your fam on the show. And this was around the time we were talking about the Chaz thing was happening.
Yeah, the dog-faced pony soldier.
The dog-faced pony soldier was on the show. And we were talking about Chaz. And he was kind of disgusted with the situation. Because it's, breaking the rule of law. It's anarchy. These people just set up in the middle of and it was some goofy shit. But at the same time, he's a person who believes in the concept of the corruption and the government goes all the way to the top. Epstein didn't kill himself. And we're ruled by a group of elite psychopath pedos and all this kind of shit. And I'm just like, if you really believe that, Chaz is the only option. You can't hate both at the same time. Like, you can't hate the people who can completely break away and do some wild shit, but you also believe that the world is run by elite global billionaire cannibal pedophiles. What are you going to outvote them out? Are you going to legislate them? Hey, you got to stop eating babies, sir.
Stop it.
How do you fix that without Molotov cocktails? That's what I want to know. If you believe this is what's happening behind the front, you have no other choice. Well, you got two choices. Either shut up and enjoy your life, or start throwing Molotov cocktails. You can't have both. You can't look at the anarchists and be like, those people are crazy, but we're also, satanic. Like, how do you get them out? How do you root them out? How do you change the world in a way that they don't have a power structure that protects? Because there's more people protecting them than there are elite billionaire pedophiles. Okay, so for every one of those people, you have hundreds of people who make it so they don't get mobbed and murdered in the street. You have the people around them who keep their businesses going. You have the people who protect them. They have the politicians and the military backing them. You can't just go to his house and start beating him to death. And then when the cops come, you go, oh, no, wait, he drinks adrenochrome. It's okay. They're going to kill you because he's a billionaire and he makes sure they get their paychecks and their yearly bonuses. They're going to murder you, son. This self-righteous shit that you bring to the battlefield is not going to help you at all. So what do? The only option you have is to periodically take psychedelics, enjoy your life, try to have as much sex as you can, watch cool shows on Netflix, maybe go to a beach and put your feet in the water, have a garden. Like, what are you going to do with this shit if that's really what you think is going on out there? I have no clue. I mean, if somebody has another option other than Molotov cocktails or mind your business on your compound, I'm open to suggestions. I'd love to hear it.
I think the genius of it is the people that are willing to throw the Molotov cocktails are throwing them for the wrong reasons and at the wrong people.
Right.
And then the people who know the real evil people also don't want to do evil, so they're not willing to do it, but they're the most informed. So the people who are the most informed aren't willing to be violent, and the people that are probably the least informed are willing to be violent, and the same power structure remains and has probably been in place since the very beginning. So and you can't reason with it, and you can't change it. It's a beast. Maybe it's going to be nice to the baby. Maybe it's going to slaughter it. You don't know. You can't take any chances with it. But if that baby would have been on a compound, it never would have met Harambe. But once you're in the midst of the beast, some beast shit could happen.
Right.
Maybe it's good. Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's not. But shit can fall apart at any moment. It's all absolute madness and chaos, and it's designed to make you sick to your stomach. And I think at some point you just got to walk away and take a step back and just say, all right, well, if I know that this is the game and this is the shit that's in play, and this is how people are getting down, and this is how, all right, well, I don't want a part of that. Like it's more of a reason to check out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's more of a reason to be like, all right, well, look, so what do we have? We have child labor, mass wars under false pretenses, mass exploitation and violence and all that. Okay, and it's distilling it all into this shit that we have here and that we enjoy on our. Okay, well, then I want to get as far out of that system as possible, right? So if I think, all right, well, that's horrific, how you slaughter the chickens, raise your own chickens, be nice to them and kill them peacefully,
Right.
and respectfully. Have some sort of respect for the life essence that'll keep, like, you can be detached from it. Like, you don't have to keep enjoying the conveniences made possible by the bloodshed and all the shit that you think is the work of evil, pedophile intergalactic forces. Like, look, pedophile intergalactic forces are going to pedophile intergalactic force.
Right.
They're going to do what they're going to do. You can't do shit about it. So he wants to just be like, all right, well, I'll have an alternative source, and maybe it'll be more meek and more humble, and it won't be as convenient, and it'll demand a little bit for me. But you know what? If I'm not distracted by all the shiny gadgets and entrenched with all the fucking meaningless horseshit that's out there to distract me, maybe I'd have more time to build this shit that's grounding myself and my family and my community and centering me on principles that are more value. Like, that's the only escape. Checking out is the only escape.
Yep.
You can't engage with it more and argue it or vote it into correction. This shit, it is what it is. And you could dive into it to be informed. So it's like, okay, I know what's going on. So you know the days that the babies were eaten. You know the location of where the babies were eaten. You've got the documents, but it still ain't doing shit but just making you upset because you're powerless to do anything about it.
Right.
But you could imagine a better world, so you got to build it in your own bubble. You got to let that emanation of existence and those circles and realms of civilization just be, because they've always been on the planet, and you can't reform them. They eventually get to the point where they collapse or they devour themselves, and then they build it all over again. That's just what humans do.
Yep. Over and over and over. That's the paradox of this existence. Unless you're willing to leave another stain. Because if you go and you drag them out of their offices, you drag them out of their homes, and you saw their heads off in front of everybody in the name of justice and righteousness, you've just set the precedent of how the changing of the guard needs to take place. So when somebody says, we don't like what you're doing, they're not going to come to you and have a conversation. They're going to drag you out in public and saw your head off. Because, I mean, you can't, there's no way to fix this shit. You can't use the master's tools to dismantle the master's machine. We said this last week too. You can't repurpose the wood chipper into a diaper changer. It's always going to be a wood chipper. I promise you. Put as many babies as you want into it. However many babies it takes for you to put them in there to realize, damn, it keeps fucking molting the babies. It's a wood chipper. That's all it's ever going to be. This is the master's machine. You don't get to repurpose it. You get to go into your solitude of your own compound and build your own machine that changes babies' diapers and milk, gives them milk and pats them on the back and burps them. You can do that if you construct your own machine. This machine mulches shit. That's all it does. So you can tap in and go deeper, or you can turn your back on it. And I know everybody may not have the same capability or opportunity, but that's what connection is for. That's why you meet people with like minds. That's why you listen to podcasts, and everything is infinitely available right now. You find the people who you think are your people, what we call the vibe tribe, the vibrational tribalism. You figure that out, and you put your heads together and figure out what your next move is, and finding a way to unplug yourself from this system. If you think you can repurpose it from the inside, Learn politics. Raise your kids up to memorize all 50 states, and maybe they'll get elected somewhere. And see
That's
if when
what
they
I'm
get
saying.
elected, that will they change the game from inside, or will
The
they
throwing
say
Molotovs gotta
this
stop.
game
Like,
has been going on for a long time, and we ain't gonna stop this train. So just let me take the bribes and eat the babies. Go for it. See how it works out. I'm not telling you I know definitely which one is going to happen, but I know what's been happening so far. People have been taking the bribes and eating the babies. So I don't really have a reason to think they're going to do anything different. I've never seen a political plan laid out that made me say, oh, wow, this will stop the global elite pedophiles right here. This is it. This is it right here. We need to be using more corn in our gas.
That'll learn them. That'll get them to quit eating those California
if we could
Twinkies.
just
They'll
stop
it.
Monsanto from poisoning everything, then maybe the people will stop shoplifting in California. I've never seen it. Maybe and I'm not saying a program doesn't exist. I've just personally never seen it. So go for it. I've made my decision. It's really difficult to collect this information and get fired up enough about it to connect with an audience who's also fired up about it. I think at this point, the people I want to connect with are the people who've already decided to unplug and not be part of it. And maybe they're just looking for some pointers, some like minds who are thinking on the same wavelength and trying to figure out how to work themselves out of this system. Those are the people that I think I would rather be having conversations with, and then doing the shit we used to do in the hip-hop clubs back in the early 2000s. We'd just be standing next to each other when the DJ plays Little John and be like, yo, this shit's whack, right? Yeah, this shit sucks. I'm not trying to build camaraderie about shit that I hate. I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to build a team of people who also are pissed off and dislike everything that I dislike so we can have a fucking... No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It doesn't do anything for my existence, and I'm pretty sure it's not doing a whole lot for the people who are buried in its existence. So I'm just not doing it. All my effort is going towards unplugging and monetizing that process, taking all the video, creating all the content, doing that shit around that. But this is the dimension for distraction and paradox. This world is fucking psychotic, and I'm pretty sure that's the way it's always been. Like I said, people in the 50s were definitely afraid of rock and roll and poodle skirts. You couldn't tell them nothing different. Their daughters didn't have OnlyFans. They were going to drive-in movies, and their father is suffering at home because he
Look
thought
what
his
happened
daughter
when
was
they
getting banged in the back seat.
when they took alcohol away from
Right.
sweat pills.
Right.
Alcohol.
At every stage of society, there's a group of people who is just about our age who think the world's gone mad. Every stage. When you're in your 20s, you ain't paying attention to nothing. Most of the time, you're having a good time. You're smoking, you're drinking, you're listening to the music that your parents hate. 35, 40, you start getting up in that age, you're looking at the younger people and coming up behind you, and you're like, these motherfuckers are crazy. It wasn't like that when I was a kid. Girls used to wear more clothes. Why do they look like this? Why are they doing this? This is just what happens at this age. The world stops making sense. You start wanting to get more politically conscious for most people. You start thinking about money differently. Maybe I should be saving and not splurging. And this is just what happens to the mind. Yeah, we call them boomers. This is what happens to the mind. If you are the same as you are at 40 as you were at 20, you wasted 20 years. That's just the facts of the matter. I don't know very many people in the world who felt the same way at 20 about everything as they do at 40, and it just makes sense. You listen to the same music, you're watching the same movies, you're frequenting the same establishments. Something you done fucked up somewhere, pal. If you still out here trying to keep up with people who are 20 years old, yeah, you playing yourself at this point.
Well, those are the guys that just came out of prison.
Right, yeah. And they still, yeah. The world is supposed to look crazy to you when you're 40. Shit's supposed to start looking mad. Nothing makes sense in either direction.
I'll tell you right now, sagging of the pants at 37 years old,
That's for
it
everybody.
definitely looks gay.
That looks stupid for everybody. I don't care if you're 16 or 38. If you're sagging your pants, I don't even want to have a conversation with you. There's nothing I need to talk to you about if your pants are sagging. I don't even, actually, you know what? I don't even want to be seen in close proximity to you because somebody might be taking pictures. I don't want to be anywhere near somebody who's sagging their pants. I'm just going to walk away from you. I don't need it. That's a declaration of mental illness right there. And your willingness to enact violence for no reason.
And have a belt.
Yeah, they'll have a belt on a still sag. The belt helps them sag. It's fucking goofy. But either way, yeah, this is our take on the mad world. Everything outside is a distraction. If you're not trying to figure out how to get on a piece of land and build a food forest, I really don't know how to help you at this point. If you're trying to find a piece of land and build a food forest and a garden and some hempcrete dome houses and shit like that, I might have a few. I might be able to point you in the right direction. Other than that, I don't know what you're doing, and I'm not really that interested, and I don't think I can help you at all. Sorry. I love you. I hope everything works out in a great way for you. I hope you reach your highest good, but I can't help you because that's all my time is being spent on right now is compound biz. That's about it. That's all I got for the world. Everything else is barbed wire for the brain, and I don't want it. I don't want it. But our hour is up. We said we were going to keep the shows tight, short, and sweet for everybody. So I appreciate everybody for listening. You are greatly appreciated. I got the link up on the screen. So if y'all want to go visit sweetco.art, SWTKO.art, go check it out. We got some hookups for you. Orders over $50. Enter the code gratitude. You get free shipping. And yeah, just go check it out. We got a bunch of cool t-shirts, original art, some prints, and some canvas art, and all of that. So, support the compound movement. Help get us on 40 acres so we can really show you how to do this shit, son. If that's what you're into, no pressure. But other than that.
You know what Umar says.
Oh, yeah, gifts. Oh, man, I got a bunch of Umar shit. We're going to have to get to that maybe in the midweek. We didn't have enough time for it today, but I did make some clips. And I got to get an Umar rant. The guy, he's so slippery. So slippery, so slick. I just love what he does and how he can talk to people in a way that makes them think that they're wrong. And he's actually saying some super goofy shit. He just says it so eloquently.
Yeah,
they believe
he's the perfect
him.
Example of the guy trying to change the world for right, and he got drunk with power.
Yeah, he got drunk with power. He started getting them gifts and them donations. And it's a wrap from there. You know how we do.
Donations. 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 Donations.
I love it.
Donations. Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts. Donations. Donations.
I love it. This is the guy. This is the guy who was going to build a school to teach your children how to be Pan-African and economically sound, to make sure they're not under the tutelage of the white man. Because the white man, all he wants to do is take your money. He doesn't want to help you. He hates you because you're black.
The black man doesn't want to take your money.
No, the black man don't want to take your money. The white man wants to take your money. So if you need to know, if you got a place, you want to send your kids to a place where they're going to learn how to be sound economically, this is where you send them, to his school. This is the principal of your kid's school.
Donations. 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 Gifts. Gifts. Gifts.
And what else we got, Umar?
More gifts. More.
I love
you
it.
frame it that way. This is your principal.
Yeah.
This is the principal of your kid's school that you paid to have built and that you're paying to send them to.
I love it. That's the home.
Dr. Umar, what are we gonna do with the children?
Gifts.
Donations.
Send them to Red Lobster. I still got 25 left on the card. Give them some cheddar-based biscuits.
Absolutely.
That's the whole PTA meeting. Donations.
Yeah.
Gifts.
He just says that for 35 minutes.
Yes, this in the back. You got a question. My child still is not reading well, and I have some gifts.
The only way we're going to help your child read better is more gifts, more donations.
We tried to
appreciate
teach
you.
child, and you know what happened? We didn't have enough gifts,
It didn't work.
donations to teach him. We wanted to. So,
Legit said to put our Harambe time travel story into the mix. That's got to go into the Trello board.
Okay.
That the humans from the future are traveling back in time to a point before Harambe died to try to fix humanity. I agree. That was our point. That was when we fell. It wasn't the apple. It wasn't the slaughter of the innocents.
It wasn't the towers.
No, it wasn't the towers. It wasn't Antifa. It was the death of Harambe. That was the breaking point for humanity right there.
If it turns out on that day, it's like, yeah, this was the 40-year cycle of Venus, at this exact moment. Like if there's some crazy ass astrological thing that coincides with it, you might be onto something.
Yeah, the comet
Right.
was passing by. Like I'm gonna look it
Right.
up. We got to dive into this. I'm gonna have I'll have an infographic by next week's show.
I have a chart. I have a pie
That's
chart.
the beginning of the time travel. We figure out that it's like the moment the comet came over, the aliens was watching.
Of course.
That's when we noticed it all.
And where else could you get this information from other than the
The
greatest
world's
think
greatest
tank ever assembled? No debate. But again, we appreciate y'all for stopping by. I appreciate you brothers for making time for this endeavor. And just, much love, much respect, much abundance. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. And the cult is out. And I'll check y'all later. I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Much love. Peace.
Peace.